What's up, poker players? Hope you guys are out there crushing it on the tables. This had to be one of the best played sessions I've had over the 100K challenge, but look at that bottom line, almost down at 57 bucks. I was losing big pots at the big tables, dragging that net 1 to negative values while still winning at over 13 big blinds per 100 hands. That is crazy. We're gonna look at this session as well as cash in on some bonuses today, and we will get a balance update for the 100K challenge. Let's jump into it. We are using Hold'em Manager today to look at this session. If you want Hold'em Manager, the link is available down in the video description. They offer a 30-day trial membership. Biggest pot of the night, I wound up losing, and here it is. We have Ace Queen suited in the small blind. Folds around to the button, who has relatively fishy numbers over the 71 hands that we have on this player, and he limps in. I put in a bet right here of $6 to build a pot with a player to my left who has a VPIP of 78% and the button player who is 52%. We will be playing out of position when they call, but these players are probably going to be calling with most of the hands within their range. So we get a call from the big blind and the button. There is now $18 in the pot, and we have a flush draw, the nut flush draw, as well as 2 overcards. Lots of backdoor straight draws. So this is pretty much the nuts against these two players. I lead out for $11 to try and build a pot here with hands that are probably going to be the nuts on the turn and or river. And we get a call from the big blind and a raise from the button. This player's flop raise 1 showdown percentage is 0. So I think there's a wide range of hands that he would be doing this with, including straight up bluffs. So I think we are going to be good here getting it in against this player, but we'll be even better and we'll have even better numbers if we just call and drag along the big blind and do hit our nuts on the turn or river. So I just make a call and we get a jam now, and the dealer calls as well. This is a huge pot and we are getting it in with nothing but a draw, and hopefully it pans out. There's now $201 in the pot. We now have a nut straight draw to an 8 or a king. We were a 46% chance pre-flop, 45% chance on the flop. Those are great numbers in a 3-way pot. You know, anything over 1/3 is plus EV. And 33% going into the river. I know we don't have much fold equity here, and maybe I should have checked back right here to try to preserve some of our stack. But I do jam it in just in case this player were to fold. You'd be surprised what some fish tend to do. They might get rid of a hand when they have only a couple bucks left in their stack. I've seen it. It's rare, but it does happen. So I do jam all in. He makes a call. We have a lot of outs going in the river. Any heart, any queen wins us the side pot. Any king gives us the nuts. Any 8 gives us the nuts. And it's a 5 of diamonds. There goes the pot of $250 to 2 fish surrounding me. That is what killed the session. Biggest win of the night came here with pocket queens in the big blind. We have an open raise from under the gun +1 to 150. A 3-bet from the button to $4. I just make a call here to the 3-bet, and the under the gun +1 player comes along as well. We wind up flopping top set. There's $12.25 in the pot. I lead out for a little less than $6, a little bit less than half pot. Under the gun folds, and we get a call from the button player. The turn is the 4 of spades. There's now a little less than $24 in the pot, 42 and change in our stack. We are trying to figure out a bet sizing that we can get everything in here on the turn and river. So I bet 13 and he jams all in. I'm making the call with top set. We have the nuts and we're up against kings, have to avoid a king on the river, and we do, and pick up a pot of over $100 right there. Makes up a little bit of the losses from that last one. Here's another one with ace queen under the gun. We raise to 3x and we get 2 calls to our left. Cutoff calls, the button calls, the small blind calls, the big blind calls. Almost a family pot right there. And the flop is 9 high, 2 tone. We have the flush draw again with the ace queen, 2 overcards, drawing to the nut flush. If this looks familiar, it is pretty much the exact same hand. Checks us. I am just checking here with this many players in the pot and thinking about a check raise here. And when it goes all the way around, I know that there's probably not any straights out there because a straight would have bet here to try to protect against the flush draw. And when there's this many players in the pot, when you have a hand, you usually want to bet it, especially if you have the nuts. And the button bets here to 750. That's a very big bet, and he's trying to protect some type of hand. And I'm not giving him credit for the straight here. So when it folds back around to me, I see this player doesn't have a lot of experience, only 519 hands, pretty small sample size, not quite a regular player on ACR quite yet, and he's been playing pretty tight so far. So I decide this is a good spot to represent a very good hand here, like the nut straight. And with this type of player, he might not be able to think about my playing range from under the gun and whether or not there would be a jack 10 within that playing range. So I think I can represent the jack 10 right here, and I bet 1775. Maybe if I bet a little bit larger, that would have given him the idea that I have a straight here. I think this kind of induces a call. He's really getting good odds here of a little over $10 into a pot of 35. Maybe if I just jam here, I could have gotten a fold, but we are still drawing to a lot of outs, and he makes a call. He now has $34 behind him, and I decide that if there is a flush on the turn, I'm going to slow down. If there's not, I'm going to jam all in and try to pick up on the fold equity of this player folding 91% to turn bets. That is insane. The turn is a 4, and I jam all in. Again, I hope that he folds, and he gives me credit for the straight, but if not, and he does call, I still have a lot of outs here going into the river, and he does not find the fold button, and the river is the jack of hearts, and we miss our flush. That one really hurt us again. I'm not upset with the plays that I made with this player's very high fold percentages. I'm just missing my draws tonight, and people are not giving me credit. He made some really tough calls here with bottom 2 pair. There are a lot of hands out there that could have been beating this player. Here's a fun one. We have pocket aces under the gun, open raise to 4x. We have a posted player in the cutoff position who 3 bets to 950. You know, just a standard 4.5x into my under the gun raise, which is never a strong hand. So I 4-bet. I make it small. I make it affordable. I see this player's numbers: 71% flop bet, 86% VPIP, 75% 3-bet, and we get a jam. That is exactly what we want when we have the pocket aces under the gun. Easy call. Very surprised to see what we're up against. 9-5, but he does have a lot of outs on the flop. Picks up a couple more outs with that 5 on the turn, and we avoid him and pick up a pot right there of almost $100. That was the first hand this player played, and he just decided to give us $50. Thank you for that. Come back anytime. Now we're at the 50 and out table. We have ace 3 suited in the small blind. We get a limp from the hijack player. I complete, and we see a flop. Flop is 2-tone, 2 diamonds. We have the nut flush draw as well as middle pair. I check, and the hijack player bets a little bit less than half pot. I raise here. I see this player's fishy numbers and think that the raise is an appropriate play here. I think we're ahead of a lot of his range, and we are going to be drawing to the nuts here and have a good chance to get all of our chips in the pot in the turn and or river. The turn is the queen of hearts. There is now a little bit less than $6 in the pot. I decide to slow down, and this player bets the turn for a little less than half pot. I'm not getting away from it. I think we still do have showdown value with the 3s as well as the nut flush draw. The river is the ace of hearts. We have 2 pair, and I am just check calling here on the river. I really don't know what is in this player's range. I think there's a lot of bluffs. There's a lot of possible 10s. Maybe he had a diamond draw as well and hit the queen on the turn, but I'm going to try to get some value from this player's bluffing range, and I see that he has a 92% fold to river bet and a much better number for the river bet percentage, so I want him to try to put his chips in with hands that we beat, and he bets $35. And this player is so bluffy, and he shows down so terribly, wins 43% of showdowns, but this bet, I mean, how could you have anything besides hearts? I really went in the tank and thought about this one, and I think I probably should have found the fold button, but it just looks so inviting and so bluffy. I cannot find the fold button, and I do decide to call here with 2 pair, and he shows down the flush. The second to worst flush out there. Playing a 5-2, calling a flop raise with bottom pair. Second to worst kicker. That's 2 big pots we've lost to that player, but that's what keeps him coming back. We'll see you again. This one goes out to Keemster, aka Dennis, a regular on the channel and becoming a regular on America's Card Room. We have pocket aces under the gun. We're playing at a 50 NL table. Open raise to 3x, and we get called from middle position Keemster. Flop is jack high, 2-tone, 2 spades. Still good with the aces. I lead out to a little bit over half pot with this player's VPIP of 28%. There are a lot of hands he could be calling with pre-flop. The turn is the 9 of hearts. There's now a lot of draws out there. Probably didn't connect with many of his flop calling range. There's 775 in the pot. I bet 450 on the turn, and he makes a call. The river is the 9 of clubs. All the draws missed, and I think we can get some value from draws as well as hands that hit this flop but didn't have enough value to raise. I think any set would have raised on the turn most likely, so I don't think there are many hands that we lose to here, but I think we can get more value when we check back here. So I check, and he bets 796. I thought you were going to win this hand. There was one big hand that I did lose to you, but this isn't it. So I do make the call, and we pick up a pot of $31 right there. I'm going to try to find that other one quick. There it is. We have pocket 9s under the gun. We are at the 50 NL table. Open raise to 3x. Folds around to the big blind, who makes a call, and we see a flop of 2 jacks and a 3. There's 325 in the pot. I bet half pot on the flop, and he calls with 2 overcards. The turn is the 7. That flop call is a little bit scary. There's probably a lot of jacks within his playing range. There's the possibility of pocket 3s being in there, or the possibility of a pair less than ours. I think any pair larger than ours probably would have 3-bet pre-flop, but I just check back, and the river is the ace, and he leads out for half pot. This was another spot where I definitely had to think about it, and a lot of the times when a player is betting into you, he is pretty strong, and I probably should have gotten rid of this one, but I do see that he has a high bet percentage on the river and has a 50% showdown win percentage, which will go up after this hand because I cannot get rid of the 9s. I'm getting better than 3-1 on my money right now, and I do make the call and see that he hit the river ace and takes down a pot of $12 right there. Got a little bit back from that last hand. I don't know if you knew what I had on this hand, but now you do. Pocket 9s. Good river bet. That was the perfect size. I think a little bit more and I probably would have folded. I think you got max value on that one. Hit that subscribe button if you guys have not done that yet so you don't miss out on any of the videos or upcoming streaming action. Learn my strategy and techniques so you can come out here and take some of my money too, as well as everyone else on the table. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. Head down to the video description for links to all the poker products that I use, as well as America's Card Room. If you use promo code DKPoker when making your first deposit, you will receive a $1,000 match bonus as well as 50 tournament bucks. If you have any comments or questions, leave those down below as well. And I'll be back with a brand new video very soon. I'm gonna head out to America's Card Room right now and get in a couple more tourneys for the OSS Cubed series. So head over there, you guys, and I'll see you out on the virtual felt.